Hi, good morning. You kind of touched upon the question I had. I just wanted to say that when I watched the movie, it didn't make me as uncomfortable as I thought it would. But I just wanted to know for Mr. Tarantino and anyone who wants to answer, were there any moments where you got really uncomfortable and had to change anything on set?
There was nothing that I wrote that we had to change on set. Everyone was, we all knew what we were doing. We all got together and everything, and I kind of made sure with a lot of people as far as if there was anything that was uncomfortable, we talked about it way beforehand. Actually, I guess that's what I mean before I hired them. We good? And but there was only there was only one thing that I felt uncomfortable about, not shooting, but or I mean, at the very beginning stages upon finishing the script, was it's one thing to write exterior Greenville, where the slave auction town was. A hundred slaves walked through this deep shit mud in chains, being moved along, wearing masks and metal collars, and this whole town that's built over this, it's almost like a black Auschwitz. All right, it's one thing to write that. It's another thing to get 100 black folks, put them in chains, and march them through the mud. And and same thing about planting the cotton and putting army of black folks dressed as slaves in the hot sun picking cotton in the background. And I didn't. I started to question, could I do it? I started to. I don't think I've ever thought that about anything when it came to my work before. I started thinking, God, can I do it? Can I be the reason that that's even happening? And I'd actually have came up with an idea possibly of maybe shooting just those sequences alone, like maybe in the West Indies or shooting it in Brazil, where they have their own issues of slavery. But since this is an American story, there would be a once removed quality. Frankly, my problem was having Americans do that. That was my problem, and so I was almost trying to escape it. How can I do it but get around it some way so I don't have to deal with the pain? And I went out to dinner with Sidney Poitier, and I just finished writing the script, and he's kind of like a father figure to me, and I was explaining my little harebrained scheme of escaping and maybe doing this and maybe doing that. And he listened to me, and he basically told me I had to man up. He goes, Quentin, for whatever reason, I think you were born to tell this story. And you need to not be afraid of your own movie. You can't tell this story if you're afraid of your own movie. You just need to do it. Everybody knows what time it is. We're all professionals. Everybody gets it. Just treat them with love and respect. Treat them like actors, not atmosphere. Let them know why they're there and what we're doing and what we're trying to get across. And it'll all be good. By the way, you're going to be doing this in the South. Those people need money. They need jobs. You're taking, you got to do it. And
And then you found out they'd been slaves in Uncle Tom's Cabin, and they were
yeah, yeah,
scheduled
yeah,
to
yeah.
go into 12 years a slave when they finished being slaves for you.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
There was a lot of guys. Oh man, I was in Abraham
oh
Lincoln
man, I
Vampire
was a
Hunt.
slave
I was a
in
slave in that. I'm a slave in this. I'm in a slave in
right.
10 years.
I got that. I'm good with that.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that happened as a result of doing that, though, and for me it was one of the most profound days on our set. Was we were shooting one of these days of picking cotton in the Louisiana heat, and everybody was really hot and exhausted, and you could tell that it. I mean, even for Jamie and I, the waking up every day and putting yourself in the mental state of somebody who. Your constitution says you're a fraction of a person, not a whole human being. It was just starting to wear on everybody a little bit. And we had this one background actor who was a pastor who kind of paused everybody and said, we have to remember that we are the answer to these people's prayers. That the people who did this work dreamt of a day where you could not be property but own property, where you could read, where you could vote, where you could get married, where you could have a job and be compensated. And it really, again, on that sacred ground, it forced everybody to shift and man up and own kind of how blessed we are that we get to be here and tell this story and not feel victimized by it, but know that it's a story of a hero and that that's a profound opportunity.